TNT Unfiltered. Tyler Freed and Tim Lombardo.
Hello, everyone. Tim Lombardo here with the TNT podcast, bringing you episode 2. And my buddy here,
Tyler Freed. How we doing, Tim?
doing just great. So we had an episode. Actually, I'm going to interrupt myself. Is that okay?
You can.
If you guys are new to the podcast, I'm just going to brief you right now. We've got an episode coming up. Personally, I can't wait to I don't even mean unpack it, but I mean blow it up, because we're going to talk about all the things that loan officers want to tell agents right to their face, but we can't because we're professionals. And conversely, agents are going to get to...
We're gonna fire back and let them know the stuff that we don't love about working with lenders. Should be fun. As you can tell, Tim's really excited about it. I am too. It's gonna be a great episode. So stay tuned for that one. Like we talked about earlier, affordability.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, this is gonna be about a 7-minute fuse.
Yeah, about a 7-minute fuse on this episode, so we hope you guys enjoy. So let's dig in. We're kind of tagging on that last episode we just had. We talked about affordability, all things that affects it. Basically, affordability is what's driving the market right now, right? Like most people just think they can't buy, right? So tell me about that from a perspective of where we're at in the market, not just like in the last 4 years, but where are we at? Like what typically moves people anyways, and what really drives affordability in addition to, like, obviously rates are a big piece of it, but inventory's a big problem, right?
Yeah, that's a big question there. So what we're really seeing is the people that are making a move, they are doing so because of kind of the 90s of real estate, right?
Okay.
So
and the 90s, just give me like the hot spots, because there was a total of 9. There's a lot of them. Give me the ones that you're seeing, because these 90s are what let people move. Right.
Moving factors, basically.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Diamonds, getting engaged.
Yep.
Need to get a new house. Diapers, having more kids. Need a little bit more space. Downsizing. Maybe the kids go off to college.
Yeah.
And so just some of the.
And so how do you see that kind of freeing up inventory in the future with the kind of the pandemic in mind? Because obviously the pandemic we're kind of using as like a label for rates were low. Everybody was kind of like, hey, I'm going to be home. I might as well have a nice house, right? How does that kind of play out? How do you see that playing out in the future?
In terms of how's that going to affect inventory levels? Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah. How's it going to affect inventories? How do the D's affect inventory going forward, and what's that look like?
Well, we've got a lot of baby boomers, right? Over 1/3 of the population's in that area. So we're going to see a lot of 2-story homes, sellers selling those, trying to size down to ramblers and 1-stories. And we're just going to continue to see a lot of people that can't work from home. We're already kind of starting to see it a little bit.
Yeah.
So they have to get a little closer to work. So these are kind of the motivating factors that we're seeing.
Okay. Yeah, I think those are really key issues to dial in on. What do you see going forward? Again, I'm going to kind of rephrase this so I get the answer that I don't want to hear, but I help people understand, is how does this work going forward? Because like I've noticed one thing, like in the rate market, there's a couple guys that predict rates, and what they're doing is they're looking at rates from a historical perspective to predict future events. And I'm totally on board with that. Like, how do we best learn about the future? Look at the past, makes sense. The big hiccup here, though, is we've never had a segment in the economy where we shut the economy down for 2 weeks to flatten the 2 years to flatten the, I won't go any further, right?
Yeah.
So we did all that, and all of our data historically, pre-pandemic, we could kind of like see similarities. We've never had a similar situation with shutting things down. Right. And so how do you see that, like that mechanism kind of throwing a wild card into the future?
Well, what it did during that time, we got to look at what happened, right? So basically, rates just dropped significantly. So that's what we are seeing right now is a lot of people don't want to make the move because they are equity locked. They have a ton of equity in their home and their rates are so good. It just doesn't make financial sense. What if I told you, Tim, that I'm telling some people right now, it might not be the time to make a move?
Yeah, that's the biggie that you and I talk about a lot, is because neither one of us, we're in this for relationships. We like to help people. We like to help people succeed, but it's not always the right time.
No.
We both kind of joke that like a lot of these economists, it's like, now's the time to buy, now's the time to buy. And I point blank asked that one day, has person X, I'll leave their name out of it, have they ever said now wasn't the time to buy?
Right.
And the answer was
no.
It's a resounding no, right? It's like they always say now's the time to buy. And I mean, people are people. We're all individual. We're all unique. And so I think the key difference in distinguishing that is at the right time to buy is asking the proper questions.
Yeah. And do they need to move? Do they need to make that life house?
Yeah. And it's not always move, right? It's like, am I secure in my current living situation? Right. My kids want a dog and I'm renting a house. They won't let me have a dog or a cat or whatever it is, right? If my commute is 2 hours to work, what's that worth as far as payment goes?
Exactly. So that's kind of what we're seeing along those lines. Clients you're talking with, what are they on the fence right now? I'm seeing a lot of people that are on the fence, and they would make a move if rates went down and that perfect house kind of came up.
Yeah, the perfect house is definitely a lot harder to find now just because there is a lack of inventory, right? And then I tell people a lot of times is as you come down in price point in a specific demographic, right? So $1 million in Kent isn't $1 million in Bellevue,
right?
But as you start to move down in the price range of home in a specific market, then demand goes up. Right. And then again, you get into those bidding wars, and people don't think there's still bidding wars. There are, if the house is priced right and it's affordable. People will do it because people still want to own a home. And I agree with them. It's one of the best ways to build wealth. That's why we're in this.
Yeah. And back to those two buckets, right? There's people that can sit on the fence and continue to be renters. But we know from stats that rents have always traditionally gone up.
Yep.
And we know that home values are 4% a year?
Yeah,
conservatively.
Historical average.
Yeah. And we might be talking about this again in 5 years, and the people that did pull the trigger when the time was right, they're going to be ahead quite a bit.
Yeah, you could actually, now that you mentioned that 4% number, it's like we quoted that stat because it's like since 1970, really kind of up until the pandemic, right?
Yep.
Was 4%. But if you were to throw in the pandemic appreciation, that 2 or 3 years alone could probably offset that 4 to maybe even 4.5 or 5 or whatever it is. I think there's some impact there for that.
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, the market just was unreal, and we're thinking that there's a chance that we could see that again in the near future, where if rates do dive down quite a bit, there's going to be a lot more people jumping on, and people that were sitting on their houses might make a move and move up.
Yep. So our fuse time was about 7 minutes today. I think we might have overshot that by a little bit. Hopefully you guys got what you needed to out of this. Stay tuned for future episodes, and there's going to be a great one coming for all you industry folks. For home buyers, homeowners can listen to it as well. It's going to be a little bit more of a banter style, and I think a lot of lenders and loan officers are really going to get a kick out of it.
Yeah, the inside scoop of me and Tim's everyday phone calls. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a bunch. Have a great day.
You've been listening to TNT Unfiltered. Your host, Tyler Freed, is your Windermere real estate specialist, and Tim Lombardo is your go-to loan officer from Cornerstone Home Lending. With a combined 40 years of experience, they bring you the raw truths from the Pacific Northwest and beyond. The truth about everything real estate and financing related. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten something from it. Make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. Find Tyler on social media at Tyler Freed RE and Tim at Team Lombardo Loans. See you next time on TNT Unfiltered.